welcome to this exciting video where you once again join us in the wild landscape of Scotland. And in the last video we were actually here documenting this croft. So today's video we're away to go on an absolute madness through this landscape. There's not even a track basically where we're going. We're trying to head back to the car, which is at the other side of that hill there with the trees on it. For today's video we're joined by Highlander87. He's got his own YouTube channel as well with like drone flights and cool stuff like that, so check him out on YouTube. And yeah, we're basically here to navigate over this frosty winter land. Look at it, the snow on the ground, because it's pretty much like 1 or 2 degrees Celsius. Yeah, there's probably been a sheep lying down. We're in the land of the sheep here, and we're up in the high glens here behind Backwater Dam. And there was a cool old historical wonder there we documented in the last video, and to find our way back it is just basically like one footstep in front of the others. There's no planned route here, but we're hoping to keep dry. It might even be easier to walk like in the forest, like up to that road and just follow the road potentially. But I don't know how good it is at the bottom of this hill. You would almost think there's been a track along the side of there in an ancient time. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's a river or a burn. No. There's probably just a boggy kind of wet bit at the bottom of the hill. Yeah, there's a rainbow here, folks, shining in this valley, in the valley that we're in. So check it out, folks. For the second adventure in a row we find ourselves in the middle of a bog. But you know what it's like on this channel, we always promise you the coolest adventures, and just look at this landscape all the way up. Just the trees and the wild grassy boglands. Check it out, folks, the next phase of this adventure, we've come out of that mad field area that we were in the snow slipping around, and we've now come into this forest, and we're hoping just to pretty much go in a straight line, roughly a straight line, and my car should be at the far side. But yeah, you know how the adventures are on this channel, folks, we always end up in the thick of it, but we're just keeping our eye open for anything that we've never seen before along the way. Check it out, folks, we're coming up this absolute madness here. We're gassed out, but we noticed this ridge line with the stones, and we're thinking this must be the road through the forest. Whew. It's a killer hill. Check it out, folks, we've made it onto a forest road. That was terror, walking up that steep slope. It was just horrible. Look at this, there's a wee stone kind of bench bit here. What even is this? You can see the snow here lying between these trees. Yeah, this is an interesting little bit. Like, that's been built maybe as a wee seat at a certain time. Yeah, we're both gassed out after walking up that hill, folks. It was so steep, and when you're walking in the moss your feet's just like sinking in. Look at this, folks, the whole forest, it's the same one we walked up through, but we're further along, and look how much lichen here has grown on the trees. It almost looks like snow or frost hanging on the branches, and it basically just is this. When you see it up close, the trees are just covered in it, and it's just an incredible scene. When you look down through that, it's like being in some fairy tale movie set. And then look, we've got a patch of snow here on the path. So check it out, folks, we've come out of the forest and we're now overlooking the lands that we actually explored in the last video as we walked round to the ancient history on the hill. In this video we've come this mad route and we didn't find any history, so we're going to go to a secondary location on this video, folks, so stay tuned for this. Check it out, folks, we're now at the secondary location here in the video, and look at this. This used to be an old road leading in to a hunting lodge, which was built in the 1920s in Art Deco style, and then it was abandoned by the 1950s, so it had a real short life. And I've not been down here for ages, so I thought, because we didn't find any history at the last location, we'll come down here for a look and see how the history is of this place. And we are kind of hidden from the wind as well. It's such a cold wind. When we were walking along the road there, we were frozen solid, so it's good to be inside this forest. And down here the big mansion should be. It's kind of a hunting lodge, but it's built massive, and all these trees were probably also planted kind of at the time when the hunting lodge was built. So check this out here. Some of my viewers may never even have seen this on the channel, so it's such a cool place to come and visit and document once again, because every year places like this fall down more and more, and the history is almost gone and forgotten from the land. And from the main road you can't even tell that this historical wonder is here. It's just kind of hidden within this forest in the wild Highland Glen at the foot of Glen Isla. Just look at this grand tower. At one time I believe it had a flat roof, and probably you could go out of the tower door onto the roof, and it must have been cool to go out there. Some nights up here you can see the stars when the sky's clear. In a place like this it'll be amazing because there's no light pollution from other surrounding buildings and things. Yeah, this is such a special place because of its location out in this glen, and it's amazing how nature just takes back over when places like this are abandoned. Scrap and stuff get taken out of them. The old road used to lead around there, and you can once again like imagine the horse and cart rolling up. I suppose at that time probably cars. And probably it was only there 20-30 years. Often the money went away from these places at the time of the wars. That way of life in the British economy and stuff changed drastically, and the grand hunting lodges and stuff in the Scottish Highlands that was made popular by Queen Victoria in the 1800s, that all sort of died out and times changed. Things like this are in the land as a reminder of that time period. This one built in the style of Art Deco in the 1920s, and that's how you can see the large square windows. And yeah, there is some pictures of this that I could include if I can find them at the end of this video of when this was first built. It's obviously from an era when there was cameras and things, which is cool. Look at the wee fireplaces. It's now the home to nature and wildlife, and when you see the size of these trees, it gives you a real idea how long it's been empty and abandoned. But yeah, there's a stone kind of solid floor, right? And I think there was another bit on the outside of here built which was taken away and destroyed, but I think there's been a fire or a range there, so potentially this could have been the kitchen down in this area. And look, this is the tower. You can actually see inside where there's been stairs going up. Sometimes the main family would be separate to where the house staff, like the butlers and the maids, the butlers and maids would use stairs like this leading up, and then the main actual family and stuff would have gone up a different staircase in the house at the far end. Far more grand and better finished, far more spacious often as well for the main family of the house. Places like this were built as hunting lodges, so obviously in the summer months they would come up and stay here, do their shooting, spend their time with the family, but the staff members and cooks and stuff used to spend the whole year in places like this maintaining it and looking after it. For the few months that the family would arrive here, the house was always ready. Sometimes they would entertain guests as well and other family members and stuff. And look how the trees are just sitting on top of the roof. All this could just fall down and change so much so quickly, and that's how it's cool to come here today and see what's left. Look at this, folks. At the inner edge of the tower you can see where the old door led onto the roof, but if you look above that, it's a miracle the wall's even standing. It's just about falling down here onto the ground, the same as what these big chunks are as well. They've all just fallen down. In this area here, it's all just leaning. You can imagine this when the fireplaces were crackling and the people of the house were going around, maybe a bookshelf or whatever in the corner, and they would be standing, maybe smoking the pipe, looking out the window up the glen. And in today's video, it's often, well, it's almost a wintry scene out here. And there is no snow in the forest here, but on today's video at the start we were battling over that hill where it was a nice cold wind out in the open, and this is a contrast, a piece of history. Can know that far from where we were. Look, there's ferns and stuff just growing out as well. The interesting thing, folks, with the construction and the architecture of this, it's a mix and match of different bricks and stones that they must have had lying around somewhere. The lintels are made out of wood and metal and stone, all close to each other. And then you can see this. You would think it was actually little doors that had been blocked up at a certain time, but I believe this is the way they made the backs for the cupboards at that time. Each of these rooms would have had a cupboard inside next to the fire. And then it's amazing to think all this area of the house here, which is gone, like, this is where the original staircase would have gone up, and that would have been the landing there before you went up the final stairs to the next floor. So you can imagine maybe looking out that window as the horse and cart or whatever rolled in about 1920s when this place is freshly built. Imagine the conversation in here at times, or it's just crazy. This is the old front door, and I believe the wall above here as well is in a poor condition. Wow, it's leaning so far over.
That's why I stepped.
Even if like a blackbird or a robin or something landing on that, that could just fall down. And then there's been a wee porch here, I believe, built at a certain time. In the original photographs, it doesn't actually show that too well as being a porch, but I think obviously places like this were changed and developed slightly. And it is interesting how the stairs go off, and then it would have been landscaped as a garden. Each of the fireplaces are even constructed differently. You can see some of them's got the solid stone above them, and then the lower down ones is just the bricks built like this basically. It is interesting to see the differences. It would be fine and warm having a wee fire crackling on a winter's day like this. You could really appreciate that. It's so cold out here, folks. I can't even exaggerate that to you. For today's adventure, we've just been pushing through just to see what's around. Have a bit of fun, you know how it is. On this channel, we always try and go places we've never been and see things we've never seen and document history even like this though before it's gone forever. The chimneys still stand up there with the trees against them. Some other bits of the chimneys here have got the trees growing out of them. And it does just show how nature would take back over. If all humans disappeared, eventually you might actually have a tree growing in your own living room. So I think these windows would have been taken out when they were clearing the scrap. Yeah, I'm not sure if there had been a grand fireplace or whatever. I theorised there may have been like a library up at that end, but there's no real like massive areas that you would think would be a hall. But it's maybe because it's more of like a hunting lodge rather than the mansion. It's almost been built cheaply, you could say, with rough stones and bricks. But then on the outside it looked good once it had that render over it. You couldn't really tell. But then for some reason it's had that short life and then it's abandoned. You can just see it here, like the trees aren't little trees that's sitting on it. If the wind blows the wrong way, that could just continue falling. The stones one day will hit the ground and then we'll get a closer look at them in the future. And then see that little wooden shed, that would have been the original outhouse, which was probably located around the house here somewhere. And that was what they obviously did before they had the toilets in the house. And it is interesting, you would think by the time this was built they would have been using indoor sanitation. Originally there used to be lead. There was wood around there with actual lead on it, and I believe that was taken and scrapped at a certain time. Like a lot of these houses, they were obviously salvaged and scrapped. You can see one bit of the wood and the scrap up there. Or the lead I should say, I'm calling it scrap now as well. And then at this end there was another building, another room here, which I think was the kitchen at a certain time. And you can see the wall line around the edge. And then the driveway we walked in, you can kind of see the lie in the land, how it curves around to the front door of the property. But yeah, what a cool wee adventure. We're just battling against sunset this time of year. Obviously we went on that other mad adventure at the different location just to see if there was any history at that side of the glen. When there wasn't, it was fun to come around this direction because it's not actually that far. And then we've documented this, and it's cool to see the stage it's at and its abandonment and its decay. And even the old like approach to this place, there's trees down over it. So that's been a cool adventure today, folks. We've shown you little corners of Scotland we've never seen before, and we've updated a bit of history here with this location. But I'm ending it here. It's freezing cold, so we're making our way out of this forest. And yeah, I'm ending it here. Goodbye from me. goodbye from Highlander 87, and we'll catch you soon for the next adventure, wherever we end up going.